Hello, this is going to be a general Mercury retrograde reading for Capricorn. It's nice to kind of have an idea of what to expect during this time just because there can be, some confusion, some chaos, and, things not really going according to plan during this time. So, kind of having a heads up is nice. So, let's see what's coming up for you. Keep in mind this is a general reading. Everything may not resonate with you, but just take what does resonate with you and leave the rest, okay? Also, make sure to check your other placements. Mercury retrograde messages for Capricorn. So, Page of Vessels, Queen of Wands, and Temperance. Some of you have really been working on yourself, kind of going on an inner journey, learning about yourself, growing. Some of you have found, your spirituality. And now it's time to stand in your own power here. We've got the Queen of Wands, a lot of fire energy. Drawing power from the sun, but she represents manifestation. A lot of you all are going to be manifesting your best life here, really working for it. Like, I can see you guys really working for it, really doing the inner work for it there. And then we've got Temperance. So make sure that you're not overindulging. Make sure that, what you're doing it makes sense. Okay. Some of you, like I said, some of you have really been trying to do some inner work here, but it seems like some of you feel like, and it seems like you're not really going anywhere, like nothing's happening. And it's not that nothing's happening, it's that it's not happening the way that you expect it to. Awakening is different for everyone. Inner journeys are different for everyone. Shadow work is different for everyone because this card represents shadow work. A lot of you need to keep going because, we've got this person blindfolded here. So there's still a lot of things you need to work on that you haven't seen yet. But just know that, Spirit sees you doing the work. Just because things aren't happening the way that you think they are doesn't mean that, you're not seeing the benefits. It doesn't mean that it's not working. And so here we've got the Queen of Wands and the Three of Swords. So essentially expressing yourself. The Three of Swords can also mean like an outburst of emotion. Some of you may have gone through some heartache, but that's not what I'm getting from this. I'm getting that some of you all really need to speak up. Some of you may have a hidden practice. Some of you may have been hiding the work that you've been doing on yourself. But, the Queen of Wands is outspoken. And this Three of Swords says, it's time to let it out. It's kind of like if you were to pop a balloon, all the water would come out. Your emotions are coming out. Your thoughts are coming out. Just essentially let it all out, because trying to keep it bottled in could be what's, hindering you, honestly. So it's time to be honest about your beliefs. Be honest about the fact that you're working on yourself. And if somebody's got a problem with it, it might hurt a little bit, but you have to be okay with cutting them off, because if they can't handle the fact that you're growing, then they don't need to be around you anyway. And then we've got Temperance and the Sun. So like I said, not overindulging when you're out enjoying yourself, because I get the sense that once this Three of Swords moment happens, like when you decide, okay, I'm just going to cut this person off, or I'm going to say my piece or whatever, it's going to bring a lot of joy, a lot of serenity, and it's going to be like a load's been taken off your shoulders there. And when we're celebrating that, make sure that you're not overdoing it. But also, temperance brings healing, and temperance, it's alchemy in a sense, the mixing of two unlike things. You see, they've got one foot on land, one foot on water, so balancing all things and alchemy. So just because you think the shadow work you're doing isn't doing much of anything, it doesn't mean that it's not. Everyone's different. Your way of doing things may be different. But just going forward and listening to spirit about, where you need to go and what you need to do is going to work out a lot for you. But some of you could be stepping into your calling, and it could be something that you don't see coming, right? It's something that you never thought you would be doing in a million years. And so some of you could be, kind of receiving an epiphany about that, because that's what the sun is, essentially. It's illumination. It's an epiphany. About balancing your shadow self and your actual self, mind, body, and soul, that sort of thing. Okay, so we've got the Five of Swords, the Eight of Cups, the Three of Wands, the Knight of Wands, the Four of Vessels, and the Nine of Vessels. So, got a decent amount of Vessels cards here. There's definitely something spiritual. There's something happening in the spirit world for you right now, because Vessels talks about, the self, enlightenment, and awakening. It's like a completely new suit in this deck. So, with the Five of Swords and the Knight of Wands here, like I said before, there could be people in your inner circle that have an issue with the fact that you're growing and that you're moving on. And I get the sense that you've outgrown some people. They could be really immature, really childish. This Five of Swords energy is just very arrogant, ignorant, immature, childish. Like they bring a lot of bully energy here. And with the Knight of Wands coming in below them, like it's just real reckless. Like somebody could have been talking really reckless about you, could have been talking really reckless to you. And that's kind of where this Queen of Wands energy comes in. Being confident enough in yourself, your abilities, and your worth to say, I don't need this person in my life at all. And letting them know that, like, listen, if you can't act right with me, you can't stick around, period. And so that's what that's giving. So there's just someone that has a real issue here with your growth, and you need to let them know like this isn't going to fly. And then we've got the Eight of Cups and the Four of Vessels here. So the Eight of Cups talks about, leaving things that no longer serve you. They're literally naked in the card. And then you've got the Four of Vessels below that. And so this person is Four of Vessels. This person drowning back here, that's their old self, and this is their new self rising up from the muck, and this angel coming down and giving them a blessing. And so essentially it's the same lesson in the Eight of Cups here. So sometimes you got to leave people behind. Sometimes you've outgrown things, you've outgrown people. It's time to move on. This is spirit telling you that, this Mercury retrograde is time to cut off the dead weight, which was a theme in a reading for a different sign that I just did. So it's time to move on, time to cut off the dead weight, time to get rid of this person. Standing alone or on your own, at least to some extent, is not the end of the world, right? Don't keep toxic people around you just because you're worried about feeling lonely, okay? Then you've got the Three of Wands. Your blessings coming in. Like once you cut this person off, cut these people off, cut these habits off, which is another lesson in temperance. Once you cut off these things that aren't doing you any good, your blessings are going to start to come in. Like all the things that you've been trying to manifest, that's going to start to come in. You could get downloads. There's going to be communication from spirit here with the Nine of Vessels here, because the Nine of Vessels is all about self-acceptance, being closer to enlightenment, and kind of integrating, all three parts of yourself, mind, body, and soul. So your blessings are going to start to come in. Accept yourself, accept the fact this person's like standing alone. Accept the fact that it's okay to be alone. There's a difference between being lonely and being alone. And there's a lot of lessons to be learned by kind of going into hermit mode, right? You can learn to accept a lot of things about yourself. So continue doing your shadow work, just keep going. But if you want, these blessings to come in, you're going to have to cut some people off. And we've got Justice at the bottom there. So yeah, it's time to cut some folks off. Let's see what else we can find out for you here. Eight of Wands, Justice again, and the Chariot, the Knight of Vessels, the Two of Vessels, and the Four of Coins. So yeah, essentially it's time to focus on your inner journey and the bag, your money. You got the Eight of Wands and the Knight of Vessels here. So the Knight of Vessels, he already brings messages from spirit. He brings intuition, messages from the universe, expansion of your abilities. And then with the Eight of Wands coming in here, yes, a lot of you are, like, you've done a lot more work than you think you have. But obviously you need to keep going. But this is a message from Spirit. Keep going. You're going to be getting a lot of communication during Mercury retrograde, some downloads. Your ancestors may come through for you stronger. Your spirit guides may come through for you stronger. You may be more easily, it may be more easy to receive those messages here from them. And then you've got Justice and the Two of Vessels. So like I said before, balancing out your life, cutting off, these people, these things, these habits that no longer serve you, embodying this Queen of Wands energy. And you see she's naked. She's open about herself. She doesn't care what you think. If you don't like her body, like, she knows she looks good. And she's standing in her own power. She's standing firm in her beliefs. And that's kind of the energy you need to embody here. Cutting these people off, being blind to their excuses and their bullshit, just leaving them alone if you gotta. And this Two of Vessels here, this is about going on a new inner journey. So you had the Page of Vessels before, which is potential, shadow work, that sort of thing. And then the Two is like really armoring up, and it's also about the purification process. And as you can see, we have these two components here. So there's alchemy, and then some of you could be like very good at like making concoctions. Some of you could be in like holistic health, that sort of thing. But balancing yourself out, because both Justice and this Two of Vessels are about balance and understanding that it's time for a new journey. Yes, you went on, you did some shadow work in the Page of Vessels. You went on a journey, but now it's time for a new one, okay? And you can't bring any of that foolishness with you. And then you got the Chariot and the Four of Coins here. So like I said, focusing on your money, going towards your money, essentially just staying focused. Like, don't let anyone steer you from your path. Like, you know what you're supposed to do, you know where you're supposed to be, and at this point you probably know who you need to cut off. So doing that so that you can move forward into, manifesting more for yourself and for your family if you have a family. Okay, so those are the messages that I have for you. I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.